Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today the topic of our discussion is how to measure the economic development, welfare and economic well-being. Today we will only do the introduction of this topic because it is a vast topic and we cannot cover it in a very short period. So we will only introduce this topic, and inshallah in future we have a very long session on the how to measure the economic development, welfare and economic well-being. During this lecture we will answer few questions, and these questions are: what measures the welfare and well-being of the society and individual? Is real GDP GNP can reflect the economic and social well-being of the individuals of the society? Is real GDP GNP per capita can reflect the economic and social well-being of the individual of the society? And the last one, that is will be the focus of this discussion: is there any other perfect measure that can gauge the social and economic development of the society? So starting with the first question, GDP GNP as an indicator of welfare and the well-being. From many years and for centuries, the best measure for the productive potential of the economy was real GDP and GNP, as an increase in the GDP also uplift the standard of the living of the society, and there is a strong positive relationship between these two variables. As GNP increases, of course it increases the opportunities and the supply of goods and services to the masses in the economy, and as we know, with the higher GDP and GNP enjoying the high standard of living, like United States of America. The GDP of the United States of America is about $22 trillion, $22,000 billion, and of course they enjoy a very luxurious life, and their standard of living is very high as compared to the other countries in the region as well as in the world. As compare it to the countries in the South Asia, we see here that the GDP of Pakistan is about $320 billion, and the living standard in Pakistan is very low, as we see here. Again, the GDP of Bangladesh is about $280 billion, and we see here that the living standard is very low. So there is a strong correlation between the GDP and the living standard of the people. But can we see that GDP alone can show the situation of living standard and the provision of services to the people in the economy? There are some drawbacks to this criteria as a measure of the well-being and economic development, as the GDP increases along with the natural disaster, deadly epidemics, war, crime and other detriments to the society. As we have studied that the GDP and the living standard has high correlation. As GDP increases, it will increase the living standard. But we see here that the increase in expenditure on national disaster, deadly epidemics, war and crimes also increases the GDP. It means in these situations, a higher GDP will not reflect the higher living standard, as we have increased the expenditure on war, and that will deteriorate the living standard of the people. That expenditure on deadly epidemics like COVID-19, and that will also increase the GDP or economic activity, but that will not be reflected in the living standard of the people. Again, an increase in GDP also due to non-market activity and self-made production. So the GDP doesn't include the non-market activities and self-made production. That's why it cannot reflect the true living standard of the people, and the GDP also cannot measure or capture the quality of goods and services provided in the economy. A higher GDP may show that people are provided with the large number of goods and services, but it doesn't capture the quality of the goods that are supplied. Again, GDP doesn't measure perfectly the happiness and quality of living standard of the people. There are other demerits also that we use GDP as a measure of the welfare and the economic development. GDP doesn't take into account the impact of externalities that generated through the production process in the society. These externalities may be positive or negative. What are the externalities? Externalities are those negative and positive impact on the society due to the production process of the society. There may be some negative impact externalities provided by the production process, that increase in the crime situation in the society, increase in the pollution, that deteriorated environmental conditions, and there may be some positive externalities in the society, that increase in the medical care and increase in the educational facilities, etc. But the figure of the GDP doesn't include the impact of externalities on the society, so it is not a perfect measure that can reflect the economic development and welfare and well-being. There are some other things that are the indicator of the living standard or welfare that are not included in the GDP. These are the value of the leisure, the value of the clean environment, the value of the almost all activity that take place outside of the market, such as the value of the time parents spend with their children and the value of volunteer work. Again, the GDP and GNP doesn't include non-traded goods. They doesn't include non-traded goods. And what are the non-traded goods? These are the goods that are produced in home and consumed in home, that are not traded in the market, in the stores. Again, it cannot count the underground economic activities or illegal economic activity or black market activities. Again, the data that is available about the GDP may have some demerits, they may have some limitation, and may have inaccurately collected, so that it doesn't reflect the realistic figure of the economic well-being and welfare in the society. So we discussed that GDP or GNP alone can reflect the economic development, economic well-being and welfare of the society, but we cannot ignore that a higher level of GDP have a high correlation with the economic development and economic welfare. High correlation. Again, we can also conclude that increase in the GDP and GDP is the prerequisite of the economic development. But in nowadays, economists, instead of using GNP and GDP, they use GDP per capita as a measure of economic development, welfare and well-being. As increase in the GDP per capita, that will increase the welfare and economic development in the society. Previously we studied the GNP and GDP that doesn't take into account the impact of increase in population on the increase in the welfare, but in GDP per capita as a measure of the economic development, we coped with this phenomena that the GDP per capita measures the per capita GDP that is produced in the economy and reflects a little bit a realistic picture of the economic well-being. And how the GDP per capita is calculated? Real GDP per capita is calculated by dividing the GDP real GDP by the total size of the population in the economy, and by dividing the real GDP by the total size of the population, we obtain the real GDP per capita. And real GDP per capita reflects a little bit realistic picture of the economy as comparison to GNP and GDP. And real GDP per capita has very high correlation with the economic development and living standard of the peoples. As we know that again the United States, the very high GDP per capita, about $55,000 per capita, and they have a very luxurious living standard and a very high state of well-being. As comparison to Pakistan, we have about $1,500 GDP per capita, and we have very low living standard with lack of supply of the basic necessities and services. But the GDP per capita is not an ideal measure of personal economic well-being because it doesn't include changes in what changes. Number one, in distribution of income. It doesn't show that how income is distributed. If the income is distributed fairly in the society, then GDP per capita may show a very realistic picture of the society's economic development and well-being. But if the income distribution is skewed and highly skewed, then GDP per capita will not be a true measure of reflecting the economic development. Again, GDP per capita doesn't show the leisure time that a person enjoy or the entertainment that is provided to a person by the society or the economy. Again, it doesn't show the impact of any type of externality on the health of the individual, on the facilities provided to the individual. Externality may have a very bad impact on the society, and there are some positive externality, they may have some positive impact on the society, but GDP per capita as a measure of economic development doesn't count it. And number 4, it doesn't take into account the quality of the product that are produced in the economy. So as we discussed that GDP, real GDP, real GNP and GDP per capita are insufficient indicator of the economic development and economic welfare and the well-being of the society. So economists vastly use the Human Development Index to show the economic development and social and economic status of the people in any economy. And this Human Development Index was basically proposed and constructed by Dr. Mehboob, that belongs to Pakistan, Dr. Mehboob ul Haq, and now it is internationally valid and mostly accepted criteria to show the economic development and well-being of the any society. What Human Development Index do and how it do, we will study now. Human Development Index HDI is a measure of economic development and economic welfare. Number one. Number two, it doesn't rely only on real GDP and per capita GDP to evaluate the economic development and economic welfare of the society. Then what it do, what it count, what it uses. The Human Development Index examines three important criteria of economic development are the end product of economic development. It deals with the end product of the economic development. These three are, number one is longevity, and longevity means the life expectancy at birth. It includes the one component or the first component of the Human Development Index is the life expectancy, that is called longevity, and through life expectancy they measure the life expectancy of the people at the birth. And number two, the second criteria that is used in HDI to evaluate the living standard of the people is education. And the education, they use education index, and then how they construct the education index we will study later on in next slide. And the third one is indicator that is used to construct the HDI is the income level. Probably that is measured by the real per capita GDP of an economy. The Human Development Index or HDI uses three criteria to create an overall score between 0 and 1. Yes, the limiting value of the HDI is between 0 and 1. The 1 indicates a highest level of human development or human economic development, and 0 is the lowest level of economic development. Right. As we study, the Human Development Index combined the three criteria, or the Human Development Index is the geometric mean of the three criteria that are known as longevity, educational index, and income index. And how these indexes, three indexes are created. First these three indexes are created, and then we take the geometric mean of these three indexes. The first index is life expectancy index. How we calculate this index? Average life expectancy compared to a global expected life expectancy, and through in this index we calculate the average life expectancy of any nation with respect to the international benchmark, that is the highest level of life expectancy for the country in the world. I may go in detail to teach you how these indexes are constructed, but as it is a very preliminary stage of your learning about the human economic development, so we will go through this topic in detail later on, inshallah. The second one is educational index, and this educational index uses two indicators: the mean year of schooling with the weight of 1/3, and the second one is the expected year of schooling with the weight of 2/3. And the third one is income index, GNI at PPP, that uses the real per capita GDP. And after calculating these three indexes, we take geometric mean of these three indexes to calculate a single figure. And as we studied before, that Human Development Index value lies between 0 and 1. The value near 1 mean that the highest level of human development, and the value near 0 mean that lower or lowest value of human development. This slide shows the top 20 countries in ranking of HDI in 2019, and we see here in 2019 Norway is on the top with the HDI of 0.957. Again, Ireland ranked second, and that with the 0.955 HDI. Again, the Switzerland is on fourth, Hong Kong is on fourth, and Iceland is on fifth with 0.949 HDI. And these are the very high HDI country where people have very high living standards, and they are provided with the all social and economic provisions, and enjoy the highest life expectancy, highest educational privileges. Again, they have a very high per capita income. The next slide shows the lowest 20 countries, where we have on the bottom, on the number 189, that is Niger, with the lowest HDI, that is about 0.394. Again, we have Central African Republic that have an HDI of 0.397, and Chad, South Sudan, Burundi, Mali, Sierra Leone that have also HDI, very low HDI, that is about 0.43. The same figure you can see at